There was this one afternoon when I needed something from the café at Daystar. I had my infant in my arms and was in the green room when something happened. At this point, I could tell she was scared, so we stopped taking her there. She stayed at home with us because we hired a babysitter. But I needed to get something fast because I was in a rush. It is mid-afternoon, so I go into the green room where I didn't expect to find anybody. The fact that I bring her along is a terrible thing. Pete and his wife stroll in. As I go to retrieve that food package, I am taken aback. My child was so scared that she let her body relax to the point where she slammed under the table with all her might. As fast as I could, I grabbed her little body, threw her into the car, and sped away. Not only that, but I remember telling other relatives, even some I trusted deeply, about it. That was a terrifying ordeal. I muttered under my breath, I'm not going to bring my child here. Joni Lamb and her late husband Marcus were accused of covering up a family member's alleged sexual abuse of their granddaughter. These accusations have been strongly denied by Joni Lamb. The blogger in question denied the allegations that she had fabricated a story to harm her loved ones. Stay tuned, because more revelations are on the way. Salutations, and many thanks for joining us here today on the show. What we're going to talk about today is a major issue that has been causing waves across many media outlets. The accusations, the intrigue within the family, and the seriousness of the charges have left many people bewildered. What I mean is that there is this ongoing drama involving Susie Lamb, who is married to Jonathan Lamb, Joni Lamb, and Jonathan Lamb's son. If you have been following along, you know it has been quite a ride. Put your seatbelt on if you haven't already, because there is a lot of stuff to unpack. Hence, let's start at the beginning. Daystar Television Network co-founder Joni Lamb recently addressed some serious accusations leveled against her by her son and daughter-in-law. Let me tell you, she was completely forthright. During an episode of Joni Table Talk, she strongly denied claims that she and her late husband, Marcus Lamb, had covered up charges of sexual abuse their granddaughter had suffered at the hands of a relative. The blogger in question denied the allegations that she had fabricated a story to harm her loved ones. For the time being, I think it would be best to stop here. In your opinion, these are very serious claims. One side of the argument is that of Jonathan and Susie Lamb, who say that their daughter was abused, and that Joni and Marcus tried to cover it up. On the other hand, Joni is fighting tooth and nail against the accusations, saying that they are an attempt to tarnish her reputation. How much truth is being told? Whatever the case may be, that is the question we will be attempting to address today. We need to start by talking about the accusations. A family member known as Pete allegedly abused Jonathan and Susie Lamb's daughter, both physically and emotionally. While on vacation at a beach house in Miramar Beach, Florida, in the summer of 2021, they claimed to have found Pete alone with their daughter. It was either Florida where the beach house was situated. In the end, their daughter came clean about the sexual abuse she had endured, they say. Complexity sets in at this point. As far as Susie Lamb is concerned, when she informed Joni about it, Joni advised her not to contact the authorities. Contrarily, rumor has it that Joni wanted nothing more than to spend quality time with her grandchild. It was said that the child stopped talking about the abuse right after the meeting ended. Jonathan and Susie assert that their daughter turned into a lockbox due to her inability or unwillingness to communicate what had happened. Joni Lamb, on the other hand, gives a completely different story. It is her position that the accusations have been twisted and taken out of context. What happened at the beach house was completely accidental, in her opinion. While her granddaughter was putting on her swimmers, she claims that her grandson and a newborn were in the room with Pete, gazing out the window at the cityscape. Despite Joni's assertion that Jonathan screamed and accused Pete of being improper, she maintains that Pete had his back turned, and thus didn't see anything. We have two accounts, because there are two distinct accounts of what happened. Here, on the one hand, Jonathan and Susie are asserting that a major case of covered-up abuse occurred. Joni, meanwhile, is asserting that her son and daughter-in-law are trying to bring shame on her and Daystar by making it seem like there was a misunderstanding. Now that we've covered the ground rules, let's talk about the law. The Roy's report, which publicized Jonathan and Susie's accusations, has been asked by Daystar's lawyer, Michael D. Anderson, to either retract or correct their stories. Anderson argues that the article's statements are not only false but also factually and realistically based. The accusations, he says, are part of a smear campaign that Jonathan and Susie started. He also claims that the Roy's report has no evidence to support their claims, only unsubstantiated comments from the two. The Roy's report, however, will stand firm. Christine Jones, their attorney, responded by saying that they have given Daystar ample opportunity to respond to the allegations and have acted with the utmost journalistic integrity. In other words, they stand by their reporting and will not alter the stories in any way. Things get really intriguing from here on out. We have completed all of the required research, according to Roy's report. If you prefer, you can also send us a lawsuit. Daystar has also stated that they will not back down from these comments and that they are ready to fight. Thus, a judicial war is being considered, which is never a good sign when resolving conflicts within a family relationship. Now let's talk about how Joni is coping with everything that has happened. She did more than just deny the allegations in her appearance on Joni Table Talk. She stepped up and launched an assault. She claimed that Jonathan and Susie had concocted a false narrative by merging two separate incidents. She states that the first incident occurred in 2020, when a man allegedly touched her granddaughter while she was a preschooler at his school. According to Joni's statement, she and Susie went to the school to report the incident, and nobody tried to hide it. However, I must inform you of something. Jonathan and Susie have claimed that the preschool incident is being used to divert attention away from the alleged abuse that Pete did at the beach house. One side claims that the two issues are separate, and that the other is trying to complicate matters by bringing up the preschool incident. While Susie was a guest at the beach house retreat, Joni took aim at her mental health. She mentioned an incident that happened at a grocery store, where Susie got angry because she thought a man was staring at her, and she implied that Susie might have been paranoid. It seemed like Susie was acting strangely during the vacation, and Joni hinted that this might have influenced her interpretation of what happened with Pete. That was not taken lightly by Susie, though. God still gets the last laugh, she said in a deleted tweet that she used to respond. Joni has the option to sit like this if she wants to. Now the question is, what do we do? Angrily denying any wrongdoing and accusing her son and daughter-in-law of starting a smear campaign, Joni Lamb, a famous player in the world of Christian media, is on one side. Joni Lamb has leveled these charges. Jonathan and Susie Lamb, on the other hand, are unwavering in their claims and warn that their daughter's safety is at stake. In the middle of all this family strife is Roy's report, which is standing firm in its reporting, even as it prepares for what could be a legal showdown. Everything is so confusing and contradictory that it's hard to know who to believe. What follows is my assessment of its significance. A small child is the focal point of this story, a child who, if they have, has endured something traumatic, and if so deserves to have their voice heard, and their safety ensured. It is crucial to handle accusations of abuse with the highest seriousness and caution, regardless of whether they are true or not. This should serve as a timely reminder of that. What they are doing is trying to make me look mentally ill, while I mutter to myself. I would now like to hear from you. What are your feelings about everything that has happened? After hearing Joni Lamb's version of events, what are your thoughts on it? Is it more likely that there is another layer to the story that is being kept hidden from us? Is it possible that we are about to see another case of a powerful Christian leader using their position to control the story? Conversely, has this situation arisen because of misunderstandings that have caused unnecessary conflict? Reveals surrounding this incident have sent shockwaves across the Christian world and have left many people with serious worries. To some, Joni Lamb seems to be speaking the truth, standing firm on her principles, and doing what she thinks is right for her loved ones, and Daystar. Still others maintain that the story is not being told in its entirety, because it is deeper. Claims of financial mismanagement, intimidation, unchecked authority, cover-ups, and other serious allegations should not be tolerated, especially within a ministry that claims to be serving God. For this reason, your view matters. We must engage in forthright and honest discussions regarding these issues. Those in the ministry who accept donations from the public and claim to be preaching the gospel should be held to the highest ethical standards. We must inquire how we can guarantee responsibility in Christian organizations if the claims leveled against Daystar and its leadership are even partially true. What measures will we take to ensure the safety of those who may be unable to speak out? Regardless of everything that has transpired, one thing remains glaringly clear. This extends beyond the friction felt by an individual family. Every member of the Christian community needs to take this seriously. When scandals break out within religious organizations, people often turn a blind eye, blame the enemy, or even pardon the perpetrators in the name of grace. This kind of behavior is totally unacceptable. Grace, however, does not imply a passivity towards sin. Those in authoritative roles are expected to live up to a greater standard, as stated in the Bible in James 3. Additionally, it warns us that as mentioned in Matthew 7:15, there will be impostors who come dressed as sheep. Doing nothing to resolve these issues will set a very dangerous precedent. Silence allows corruption to flourish. It is devastating to many people's faith when church leaders misuse their power, whether it be financially, emotionally, or spiritually. Disillusioned and misled, people depart from the church. Some people stop having any relationship with God altogether because they hold him to account for the failures of his representative. The importance of speaking the truth and the immutability of accountability necessitate discussions like these. Just one woman, one ministry, or one controversy shouldn't be reduced to this. The matter that needs addressing is making sure that Christian organizations can back up their claims with actions. Maintaining the highest standards of integrity in all that it does is essential for any ministry that claims to want to help God's people. Well then, how about we keep talking? To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? In your view, is Joni Lamb the victim of unjust attacks, or does she have valid concerns that need addressing? Post a comment or message me on social media with your thoughts. Also, before we wrap up, keep the big picture in mind. The goal here is to keep the gospel pure from the taint of deceit, to protect the weak, and to make the powerful answer for their actions. If you thought this debate was interesting or useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Let us band together to speak out, have these tough conversations, and fight for what is true. Prioritize self-care alongside that of your loved ones. Until we meet again.